Okay. Now again we have got terminology and functions of various equipment. Okay. Now I will explain you couple of things that more of a general knowledge than uh, what it is. Okay. To imagine engine room. To imagine engine room again you go back to shopping mall type. Okay. Shopping mall type in the sense what happens is the center area is a cavity which is open all the way to the sky practically with some sort of a roof, and sides you have got floors, all the sides right around it there are floors, correct? That is how the shopping malls are. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Here we are taking the shopping mall on little miniature scale and assuming in the middle, without connecting it on the side floors, there is a structure in the middle, a tall structure which goes 3 4 story, but it is not connected to things surrounding it. It is just in the middle. Can you imagine it? Huh?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now that is how engine room is. Now on this, sorry, I will enlarge the diagram. Sorry. Okay. This is supposed to be our. Now what happens is ships engines are large. Them means from bottom of the ship engine to the top can be something like 10 meters, around plus minus 10 meters height of the engine itself. Now what happens? Ship has got bottom, though there are framings. So ship is engine is bolted on them. That is the bottom, and there the shaft is connected to the engine through a couple of things are there, thrust block and all. And this is the engine where this is the cylinder head on top. There is a big long stroke. If you have ever studied internal combustion engine, there is a piston moving up and down, it compresses, and then the spark is put or the fuel is injected, and it sort of catches fire and passes the heat energy to the piston, which in turn connects to the crankshaft and gives energy to the shaft. So this height is like, say, about 10 meters, 12 meters, whatever it is, depending on the ship size. So what happens is, bottom it is bolted. Then this is a ground floor. Then this is first floor of the shopping arcade. Engine is in the middle. From sides we have got all the sides. There is a platform created which is not connected to the engine, but it's very close to engine. Why? Because there is a certain thing, you want to touch the engine for inspection, this, that, whatever. Similarly, there is another one on top. Normally ships have bottom platform, middle platform, top platform. Generally they manage in it, and odd ship may have one extra. And then on top of it we have got more freedom, because then there is a roofing structure, and then maybe some raised areas here and there. That is how it is when you fix up things. Now this, when we see a video we will see it, but every ship will have like this bottom framing, then engine is bolted on it, and engine goes about 10 to 12 meters in height, and it is surrounded by platforms. One is the bottom platform, one is middle platform, one is the top platform. Now with reference to this, this is approximately the, 1 minute, I'll use the, wait, what did I do? Sorry, you can see me again?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good. Now, what happens is normally your water line is like this, okay, somewhere here. This is your water line. Now, when you are going to run a main engine, means what is main engine? It is something like a car engine or something, but it is much bigger in size. It is much bigger in size, and each component is huge. So, to run this main engine, we need couple of more things. Like, if you are familiar with a diesel car, you realize there is a injection pump, there are injectors, then there is a, like, diesel is a clean oil, so it doesn't need heating or something. Here, what we use is fuel oil, or we call it heavy oil. That is very thick oil. That has to be heated first. It has to be clean first. Then only it is, and otherwise engine will start getting clogged, because what product is there, it has got impurities which you need to filter out. Like even diesel cars, you have got a diesel filter which filters out so that your engine can run smoothly without getting anything getting clogged. Same systems are here, but since they are on large scale, they are individually controlled. Like in a car and all, it is automated. Here it is automated, but there are manual controls. Lots of manual controls are there. So, along with main engine, what we need, main engine is to drive this propeller. Rudder is to direct the flow. Okay. Now, we need electricity. So, we need a generator. So, generators are also called alternators, and with auxiliary engines. We also call it auxiliary engines. Those are auxiliary engines will be basically power generators. Then we need boiler, because you need to heat up the oil before you burn it. So you have got a boiler. Then you have to burn the garbage on ship because you can't throw it overboard. So there is a incinerator to burn things. There are many things. The purifiers. Why you need to purify the oil? When I said filtering is only one step. We need to purify to ensure that oil is suitable for burning in the engine. Now you need large number of pumps for variety of things. For ballasting the ship, for fresh water, you have to supply fresh water to everybody. You need the AC plant to give the air conditioning. Then you need to have a cold provision stores to maintain your meat temperatures or fish temperatures. So there are a lot of things. It is like a big mini city in a sense. Every facility is available. So one requirement is power. So you got auxiliary engines. Then you have got a boiler. Now what is boiler? You want to heat water to minimum of 100 degrees to evaporate it, and more, because when you want to transfer heat, the steam is a medium, and remember, you cannot see steam. What you see is a condensation, you can't see the steam, and steam is superheated so that the heat is transferred as energy and the other side it works. So there are many things. Now logically, what happens here, if I have to use any sort of water. Now, okay, another thing I forgot is all these internal combustion engines need cooling. Like every car has got coolant. We have got a radiator which cools down the engine. Similarly, but we have got more elaborate system of cooling with seawater, fresh water first, and secondary stage seawater. First stage is freshwater cooling, and then there is a that fresh water is cooled by seawater. In spite of that, all the internal combustion engines efficiency is anything up to 35 to 40% limit. 60% energy is wasted. That is the reason world doesn't want them anymore. Everybody is looking for electrical things which can be like 98% efficiency conversion. So you have got a lot of heat getting lost. As you are running the engine, so much of heat is getting lost, kilocalories, whichever unit you use. So that is going through this exhaust pipe. That is converted. That is converted by heating oil, and a boiler is created on that. So this waste heat heats up the water, so you get superheated steam to do heating up operations of the ship. Then it is also used because what happens, your idea is to burn maximum fuel so that you get maximum efficiency from the engine. Means the engine size remains small, yet you get develop more power. For that, if I decide to burn more fuel, I need more oxygen to burn. And normal atmospheric pressure cannot give it. So we have a turbochargers. These turbochargers are also driven by exhaust gas. Exhaust gas drives the turbochargers to supply more air under higher pressure. So there is more oxygen to burn and you develop more power from the engine. So this much is more or less understood or no? Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Any more yes?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
sir.
Okay. So now if I want to use anything to do with the seawater, I need to use the pump. So where will I like to locate the pump? Somewhere here. Why? They remain underwater. If they are underwater, there is a pressure there so that the pumping up is easier. So most of the pumps will be located on the bottom platform among the frames and all in that area. Most of the pumps like seawater pumps. Then what happens, the main engine has to run on say heavy oil. So heavy oil is stored somewhere away from the engine room. And we take only what is required to run engine for 48 hours. Okay, generally between 48 to 72 limit, normally 48 hours. So this is brought in, then it goes to settling tank first, where from settling tank it removes certain impurities by gravity and all, then it goes to purifiers, then the purified oil is put in the service tank, and from service tank the oil will travel, it is heated oil, will travel to the injectors via a fuel pump. So those ones are generally placed on this platform, middle platform. Then auxiliary engines and all are placed. So fuel is generally handled on the middle platform. Top platform, you generally see some small equipment here and there. Anything related to recovery of waste heat. Okay, recovery of waste heat. That will be basically on the top platform. Plus control room from where you can see the top of the engine. And sometimes you may find the auxiliary engines are here, smaller ships on the same height. Or generally, this is what is the pattern. All the water handle activities are on bottom, fuel oil ones are in the middle platform, and remaining ones on top, including the control room. So people are sitting here and they are looking at the top platform of the engine. Plus, they have got all sorts of gauges there to tell them what is happening in engine room. This is the basic setup of engine room. Some important things to remember, very important things to remember. Emergency generator is provided for in case everything fails, you get the power. That emergency generator is never ever in engine room. Why? Because engine room can catch fire. So emergency generator is outside engine room in a protected place. Similarly, in case of fire, if you need the water to extinguish fire, and suppose the fire is in engine room, how will you start the pumps and all? Even if you're remote, it doesn't mean that if the pump may not be working at all. So emergency fire pump is also there. Again, that is never ever in engine room. Next is like we do hot work and all, oxygen, acetylene, or welding and all. Again, these oxygen acetylene cylinders are never ever in engine room. They are outside in safe place. One more thing, steering gear compartment is isolated from engine room. It is a separate machinery space. It is isolated. For same reason, suppose there is a fire, because what happens? You have got fuel under heated condition above the flash point. Then you have got heat in engine room, high pressures in engine room. Any leakage, anything happens can start fire. So we always consider engine room as a high risk area. That is the reason we don't store large fuel here. We just keep what is required. That is 48 hours supply normally. Sometimes it may be little bit high, 60 hours or something, but that's it. And there are automatic system which will keep on transferring it and doing everything. So there are automatic system, but everything is in a large size, very large size. Clear up to this? Yes,
Yes,
no?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we are going on a logically all right on the path, no? Engine rooms are extremely clean. Means you don't see a drop of oil in engine room. That is how we maintain. Now in engine room, you also have got some areas which are high risk areas. In a high risk area, I got subsections of super high risks like purifiers, because they are handling heated oil above flash point, plus there is a fuel pump with the high pressure. If anything leaks, it will get automized immediately and it will catch fire or explode. So we have got isolation arrangements for these compartments, so you can close the doors and it will get isolated. Similarly, if you have got any fuel tank in engine room, fuel tank, lube oil tank, anything, they are never part of the ship side. They are independent. That means you can go around it for inspection, that there is no leakage. So there are a lot of strict requirements in engine room. Even sounding pipes and all, when you learn sounding pipes, I will tell you. So this is how the engine room has to be designed. This is called class A bulk. That means fire from here will not pass through like this. Even though we know these bulkheads have got warm temperatures. So this side is a cargo area, no? Sorry, I can never get this line straight here. This side is the cargo area. So this is a warm bulkhead. So on tankers, this part is isolated. The cargo is here on tankers. There is something called cofferdam space here. Either you have a cofferdam or you can convert it into pump room. So all the tankers you will find pump room is here. And then you have got cargo area. Bulk carriers and all cargo areas up to here. Rest of the ship's cargo area is up to here. So we are clear. I will rub out this stuff. Yes, no.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Good. Because if you don't have general idea, it will be like wasted effort. that I will keep on talking, and everything will be super bumper, wide ball. Hmm? Even these propellers on a big ship has got diameters of like 9 meters and 10 meters diameter. If you can imagine the engines and all, how it works. Huge, they're huge, these propellers. They're bigger ships, huh? You start actually seeing that what we say is the miniaturized stuff, and this is the large stuff. And engine room, there is a maze of pipelines, valves, filters, because we'll start it next time. It's already almost 50, so there is no sense in getting into start. It's huge thing. Engine rooms are huge. Okay, especially on VLCCs and all. Even though they are trying to make it compact, because the idea is to save on fuel by reducing the volume. And nowadays we can compress more power in the smaller area, smaller volumes than earlier days, because metallurgically things are improved. You can heat up main engines more. Earlier, if you burnt extra fuel, it created extra heat. They used to get the cracks and all, because metals could not hold that much of heat. Then they started using silicons and ceramic and what all stuff. I don't know what they use today, but today's engines can generate a lot more heat. So, but they have become compact. There are super turbochargers, a lot of stuff that you will learn. When you have got engineering knowledge and all. That time, our chief engineers from the institutes will tell you, and they can explain you far better than what I can. Then, large number of pipelines. Then there is a color coding of pipeline, because nobody can it's not humanly possible to remember each and everything. So there are indicators like color coding, pipelines, valves, lot of stuff is color coded. So immediately this is that, this is, and engineers, on a typical ship, you can have something like 100 plus pumps, more than 100 pumps. More than 100 is quite normal, I think, because when you start adding up all small pumps and all, it really becomes quite big. Hydraulic pumps will be so many, then water pumps will be so many, then air compressors will be so many air compressors, then there are fuel oil pumps, purifier has got so many pumps. Lube oil is also with a separate system where every point you can control how much lube oil you have to put. Unlike cars and all is pre-calculated and automated. Here you have got all the overrides available, and you can fine tune the automation. And additionally, you have to reach each and every corner of the ship. This is the requirement. So it also applies in engine room, machinery space. You should be able to reach each and every corner of the engine room. It must be available for practically like touching. Okay, means you should be able to see it. You should be able to touch each and every part of engine room as well as the whole ship. Additionally, what happens is there is always a possibility, if you do any maintenance work, anything, they obviously when you open something there will be oil involved. So even though you keep it clean, but you still have anti-skid paint. That means your normal safety shoes shall not slip. Because when ship is rolling, pitching and moving, it's not that easy. And again, what happens is we don't like one single person in engine room. All the engine rooms today are UMS class. UMS means unmanned machinery space. For 24 hours, some of them are for 48 hours. That means nobody has to go. It should run on its own for without any attention for say 24 hours or 48 hours or 30 hours, 30, whatever is the class. Then when somebody goes in engine room in that condition, he has to go inside. He informs the bridge and tells them, I am going down. And okay, who, okay, one person we don't send, we send always two, and they stay in pair. The reason being, in case somebody slips or something and falls down, meets some sort of accident, collapses there for some reason, there should be somebody to save him. If one guy goes down, no, there are a lot of systems that are tried out that you keep on tracing it so that you know that you are around and all. But we prefer a buddy system with two persons always. So in case something, you can get help and all. We take a lot of care to avoid any sort of accident. But still we always assume it is possible. Okay. So anyway, tell me now, how was the test? Was it okay?
Okay.
Okay, more or less, no? You can
Yes,
take
sir.
these tests again, okay? Because what happens is when you start preparing for exams, I will tell you next week, okay, how to prepare for these exams, these tests, so that you have got enough time to prepare properly and get all the marks. The more you score, better it is, because these are internal marks, and you have got 30 internal marks and 70 external marks. Everybody is attending classes sincerely.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
your voices I
Yes,
know,
sir.
you all are sincere. But
Yes, sir.
we also get some who put on this on the mobile and change the flap and start playing the games.